Hello everyone, Leah here, and in today's video, I am going to be doing a mini art supply haul. And I'm going to start with the big thing right here, just to get it out of the way. I ordered some paper, some more of the Fabriano 300-pound watercolor paper. It's a smooth texture and I quite like it. Next, let's go over the paintbrushes. There's the word I was looking for. Oh boy, it's sticking. I'm sure that made a lot of noise. Put this somewhere safe so my doggy doesn't get at it. Alrighty, so I got the Pro Art brand's Filbert brush. It's quite stiff, so I'll need to clean it. So it's got some binder in here to keep it safe through travels. My reason for buying this is because I really love using Filbert brushes when I'm using my acrylics, but I only have 2 of those for my watercolors. And for the Neptune line, they call it an oval wash, and it's very pointed actually at the end. And then for this one right here, which is from Escoda, it also is a bit stiff and doesn't hold a lot of water. So I thought I'd try this brand and see what it would look like. And it's kind of a nice in-between size as well to get. And this one right here, also from Pro Art, it is a Dagger brush. I fell in love with my Neptune Dagger brush after quite some time. So I've had this brush for years and I have hated it. But then I decided to use it one day just for fun, and I forced myself to get familiarized with the way it works and everything, and I really do enjoy it. But there were moments when I when I felt that this was just too bendy, and I wanted to try something a little stiffer. And I'm hoping that this one right here will be a bit of a stiffer bristle to the paintbrush. So you can see. They're sort of similar in size, but the way they work I'm hoping they'll function differently. Next up is this. It's just a basic watercolor container. I got it off of Amazon and it came with the pans already in it. And I got this because I ordered more watercolors. Okay, now I have my favorite go-to watercolors, which are my Roman Szmals. And I have them all right here in this pan, and as you can see, there's only 2 spaces left, and I actually decided to get quite a few new ones to create some custom type palettes, and I wanted to keep them in their own container versus getting another really big one and then just putting them all in there and mixing them up. Plus, I really like the spaciness of this. Alrighty, so let's see what colors I got. Just make sure there's nothing here. Nothing there. Alrighty, so I also picked up a waterproof and fade-proof pen in Sepia. There we go. Why can I not speak today? I thought it'd be a fun new thing to play with, just because I enjoy using my black one, and a part of me has been wanting to try less severe line work / detailing. I honestly have no idea what's in this. I'm gonna open this first. Okay, just double checking. Yep, just packaging. This here is the Caran, Caran Dash Neocolor one. So this is a wax crayon, and I got it in white because I watched a video, and if I can find it again, I'll put a link to it. I'm sorry if I can't find it. But this watercolor artist, so talented, she was doing a water scene, but what she did, instead of putting down what's the word I'm looking for? I'll put it right here because I am blanking today. She, instead of putting something else down, a different material down to protect the paper and keep it white, she actually just kind of drew on with the wax color, and then the watercolor obviously avoided that section. And I don't personally have any wax crayons. Logically, yes, you can go to the drugstore, I guess, or wherever, like a dollar store, and buy a packet of them. But because I was already purchasing a bunch of supplies, I thought I would just grab this one while I was on Jackson's website. All right, so I very much enjoy using the Mission Gold watercolors in with my Roman Szmals. So I picked up 2 more in a pastel color, so they're lavender and lilac. And I did that because I'm gonna move this down closer. 1 second. Because I would like to create, oop, it's wobbling, some custom palette color options. Okay, so I have lilac, lavender. This one here is Mineral Violet from Roman Szmals. And then this one here is Shadow Violet. And then this one here is the Aquarius Black. So it looks like a very granulating black color, and I thought that would be interesting to get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't make sense. Oh no. Did I order one too many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I didn't. I was just putting them in the wrong spots. So now that thought process has been reorganized, I created some custom stylized color palette options that I wanted to keep separate from my regular everyday colors. So when I'm in the mood to be more on the earthier side with warm tones and browns and earthy green, and then on this side when I want to be more playful with a lot of purples mixed in with some vibrant greens. So this one here, I already have the light olive green, so I got deep green gold. It's a similar color, I feel, but I think once it gets used, you'll be able to see the two differences apart. And then I got the sap green light, and then again, Aquarius black, shadow violet, mineral violet, lavender, and lilac. And then for this section, I got buff titanium, natural sienna maude, oh no, whatever this word is. And then, oops, upside down, quinacridone burnt sienna, Venetian red. This one is Potter's pink. Yep. Burnt umber. Nope, my bad. Cypress burnt umber. And this one should be Aquarius green, if my memory is correct. And it is. Now, because today's unboxing is very much a small unboxing, I'm now gonna switch over to color swatching, and we get to see what all these colors look like, as well as test out the differences between these brushes. Or maybe I won't do the differences, but at least I'll test these. So that way we can play with some stuff. Yeah, anyways, let's get to the playing. Okay, it is future Leah here. I'm just going to be doing a voiceover as I normally do when I get to the swatching section. And I just wanted you guys to know that I have had some little bit of extra time with these colors and materials, a few extra days since I ordered them and played with them and made this video. So I might pop in with some, some stuff to go on top of just letting you know what kind of pigments these colors are made with and how the paintbrushes handle. I just love peeling and opening these packages so much. Okay, let's get into it. The first color is from the Mission Gold, and it's their Lilac. It's a 3-color pigment paint made with PV15, PV122, and PW. Oh, sorry, not PV1. Let's try that list again of colors. It's PV15, which is PV15, PR122, and PW16. And the next one in this custom palette that I've created is again a Mission Gold color. It's their Lavender. It's PB29, PV15, and PW6. Mission Gold I find re-wets amazingly, and I find it so creamy. It's a beautiful paint. I'm really enjoying it. It's a great addition to my palettes, especially for these pastel colors. Next one up is from the Roman Szmal brand. It's their Mineral Violet. It's made with PB29 and PV19. So it's made with 2 pigments, and the way they interact with each other when you're doing it in more of a diluted form, so with a lot of water, it is magic. Like, you can really see the 2 colors interacting, and it's beautiful. Next up is the Roman Szmal's Shadow Violet. This one here is made with PG50, PB29, and PV19. So it's very similar to the other color I just listed, but with the added green to it, you have this beautiful deep turquoisey type color, and it's amazing. The one that's being swatched right now is their Aquarius Green, and it's made with PV 150, PBR 25, and PB 29. It's a deep green and it's beautiful all on its own. Next up is their Sap Green Light, a very vibrant light green, and it's made with PY 110, PG 7. I think this is going to be an amazing color for spring and for mixing. Next up, and the last color in this palette, is their Deep Green Gold, and it's a single pigment color, PY 129. It's so vibrant. It didn't even color shift when dried. It's beautiful, and it's got this really more of a yellow tone to it, and I think it's going to be great for mixing greens. Next up, in the next custom color palette, I have the Buff Titanium, and they list this one as their Earth Pigment PW61. So PW6 is a white pigment, and because this is a variant of it and their earth one, it has more of a beige tone to it, and it's beautiful. Next up is that Natural Sienna color I can't pronounce the name of, and I am so sorry. I'm really bad with even English, so I feel so bad. This one here is also a single pigment, and it's their earth pigment. It's PBR7, and it's a very bright, earthy, kind of ochre type color, and it is amazing. Next up is their Quinacridone Burnt Sienna. It's PO48. This color screams fall to me, and I think I'm going to be using it non-stop in the fall, just because of how beautiful it is. It's very vibrant, and I think this palette itself, the way it came out and how these colors look together, I'm going to be using it all the time. The next one I have is Venetian Red, and it is one of their earth pigments as well. It's a PR102. It's more on the muted side for color once it dries, so it did have a bit of a color shift, but it didn't mute in a way that made it dull. It just went more on the browner side, but so beautiful. It is amazing, and I think it'd be great for fall leaves and even for portraits if you're really into doing portrait watercolors. Next up, and the color that you can see being swatched right now, is their Potter's Pink, and it was made with PR233. It is a very bold color, and typically Potter's Pink is hard to re-wet once dried in a pan, or at least that's my experience with the Winsor & Newton one that I have. The Roman Szmals re-wets amazingly, and it is, as you can see, a bold color versus being very soft and muted, yet you can, obviously, with this diluted version, create that same soft color. And oh my goodness, I'm going to use this for skies all the time. Like, it to me screams the perfect sunset type fantasy fairyland pink sky. Oof. Next up is their Cypress Burnt Umber, and this one is again an earth pigment and made with PBR7. This brown, when it dried, stayed so vibrant. It's beautiful. It didn't mute at all. As for their Aquarius Black, which is the one that is swatching right now, I was quite surprised actually to just see how granulating it was. I knew it would be a granulating one, but I had hoped it'd be more on the deeper side. But that being said, I've actually played with this color a bit, and it is fantastic. It creates such amazing character, and I think it'll be great when adding mist or mixing with colors to deepen them and make them into darker colors. So you'll have a lot of notice between the differences of pigments. I'm going to have so much fun painting with this. These two different palettes, they to me embody two different seasons. One feels very spring to me and the other one feels very autumn, and I look forward to really exploring them further. But in the meantime, let's get to testing out the watercolor brushes. And the first one up is the Pro Art Master Stroke Dagger shape that I got in medium. It can create super thick lines and then super thin ones. So it'll be really fun for doing different types of things like painting leaves and foliage and a bunch of like greenery things, I think. And it probably will be even great for certain types of flower shapes that you might want to create. I do want to let you know that this paintbrush is a synthetic paintbrush. And if you go to Jackson's website, in the description, they clearly state that this is technically a student grade paintbrush, or for those that are looking for more of a budget paintbrush, because it is on the lower end cost range. I don't know what to say about price range and student range, but I am going to state that during my testing, I specifically got this one hoping that it would be stiffer than my than my Neptune watercolor brush, because it's very loose when wet, and this one is stiffer. So it is exactly what I'm looking for to see if I can do different types of brush strokes, but I'm gonna have to really put it through the ringer to see how well it can maintain water and things like that, because in my initial testing, it doesn't hold a lot of water, which can be the downside to getting synthetic paintbrushes. Some of them aren't that great at retaining water. But watch this, okay? I like loaded the paintbrush with a lot of pigment and water, and it seems to handle it perfectly fine, though it does start to get a little bit drier. So then I go and get more to do the next one, like some more water. I'm going to create an individual review video for these paintbrushes down the road after I've really tested them out and seen what they are great for and what not so great for. But in my initial testing, I'm impressed. I can see myself using this quite often, actually, for especially when I'm doing leaves and anything like that, when I'm doing my abstract or my art journaling and anything, I think I'm going to like this. The next one is, again, another Pro Art. This is their Filbert shape and size 10 from their Prolene Plus lineup. The Prolene Plus is considered to be a bit of a higher end line. It's not their top of the line, but it is a synthetic that is to be a softer paintbrush. And I can say that, yes, the bristles are softer, and they do seem to retain water better than the I keep calling it Masterclass. I feel like there's something out there that's called Masterclass. Is that where the celebrities teach you how to do things? You know what? Anyways, that's just my brain getting off track. Compare the synthetic brushes from the Master Stroke to the Prolene Plus. I can say that the Prolene Plus does retain water better. But again, I'm going to need to really put this through the ringer and test it out and see what it can do. Next up in my testing is the white crayon. When I first did the unboxing part of this, I couldn't remember which watercolor artist had used this in a video, and I scoured YouTube for the video again, and now I know. It was Caran Watercolor Tutorials YouTube channel. She had been doing a watercolor and used the white wax crayon to preserve the white of the paper. And I definitely recommend you guys look up her YouTube channel. Her work is amazing. Like, she's like a master watercolor landscape artist. But anyways, I do want to state that I feel like this is an obvious thing to point out, but I was kind of hoping that this wouldn't be an issue. When drawing with a white substance onto a white surface, it's not that easy to see what you're drawing. But here's why I was hoping it wouldn't be very hard, because it's a wax crayon, the Caran Neon 1. I had hoped that it would at least reflect some light so I could see where I was going with it. It didn't. I had no idea what I was doing. And this little reveal right now, first of all, how cool is this? Second of all, I had no idea what I was about to reveal. I was like, I don't know what I just drew. The color I'm using right now is the Szmal's Mineral Violet. And when it dries, you guys are going to get to see like the full effect of how these two pigments work together. I did discover though with this Neo 1 that if you rub it a little, it starts to disappear on the paper. That could just be because I'm using it on a smooth watercolor paper. I'm going to test it out again on different types of watercolor and see just how well this effect is, or if it can only be brushed over once or twice. So I would say if you are interested in this kind of approach to preserving your watercolor paper and the white of your paper, you might want to be a little careful with it. Then again, it could also just be the brand that I am using. At the moment, what you can see on the screen is me trying to see if this crayon is opaque. So I'm just basically lightly drawing with a pencil, and it's a very rough daffodil. And I just want to see if you could do, rough drawings and then put down the color and have it, maybe it was not preserving the paper, but what you're seeing is the wax crayon itself through the watercolor. Obviously not, because you can clearly see the pencil marks. Yeah. So if your idea is to draw first, I wouldn't recommend it. Instead, I think for this, if you're going to really do the whole preserve thing, either feel really confident in your what you're drawing, or use it to add highlighting spots in landscapes or flowers where it doesn't need to be super meticulous about your approach to it, where it can be more loose. The color I'm using to paint over this is the Szmal's Mineral Violet from earlier. And if you want to take a second to just look at how the the second one is Shadow Violet and the first one is the Mineral Violet. So if you want to take a second to look at the Mineral Violet and how beautiful those two colors are displaying, beautiful. And you might be thinking, Leah, but you've moved on. You're now drawing out and using the sepia brush that you were so excited about. Yeah, I'm not that excited about it anymore because you're going to see it in 2 seconds. This thing is supposed to be water and fade proof. Yeah, my butt. Look at it. It's water activated. I even tested it an hour later to see what it would be like if maybe it just needed time to dry type of thing. Maybe it what isn't absorbed into the paper yet. No, it is not waterproof. Not at all. As I am future Leah right here, I just want to show you what the Uni pen water and fade proof pen is like now that I've had a little bit of time to actually play with it. As you can see, when I was just testing it out, it was not waterproof whatsoever. This was a minute later, and this was about an hour later. And I really did start to think it's gotta be the paper. So I did some testing. And in this cold press paper, which is from, it's the Handbook Journal Co. company. This cold press paper handled the pen a lot better. Even when it's freshly done, it is not going to be waterproof right away. But if you give it a minute or so, it actually becomes waterproof. I even did some actual random color smudging and seeing if it would rub away, and it works really well on this paper. And then I started to think, well, okay, so if the hot press watercolor paper, this Fabriano that I love so much, didn't do so well with it, what about another kind of hot press style paper? Which is why I grabbed this one sketchbook. I don't really use it ever, like I've used 3 pages out of it, but it is good paper for sketching and doing like journaling or anything like that. And so I decided to see what kind of effects, or basically whether or not this pen would work in it. And again, when it's freshly laid down, it bleeds, but if you give it a minute or 2, it does become waterproof. Now that I've shown you that, let's go over all the beautiful colors and get a closer look at them, as I do on all my other swatching videos. So this one right here is the Lilac from Mission Gold. The Lavender from Mission Gold. The paper that I'm using for my color swatching, if you are not familiar with them, is the Stonehenge cold press watercolor paper, the 140 pound. So it's got a really nice texture, and I really enjoy that watercolor paper, and I find it really shows any granulation or any textures in the way pigments interact when used. And this one was the Mineral Violet. Like, look how beautiful that is. I'm just gonna, 1 second. Sorry. And then the next one is the Shadow Violet. Look how these colors look. So beautiful. This one is just, oh my goodness. They're Aquarius green from Szmal. Look at this color variations. Look at how it granulates and how it interacts with water. You could use this color on its own and get so many different appearances. It's beautiful. And then this one here is the Sap Green Light. It is a nice vibrant green. And then the last one in this color palette is their Deep Green Gold. Then I'm going to move on to my more fall style pattern. I'm naming this Spring and this one Autumn. The Buff Titanium. The Natural Sienna. I think it has beautiful texture. And the Quinacridone Burnt Sienna. This one's a little bit smoother in texture to the Natural, but you can still see that with a little bit of textured cold press watercolor paper, you still get some granulation with it, and it's really nice. Typically, quinacridomes are actually flat, smooth colors, but this one has a bit of granulation to it, and I like that. It might not be for everyone, which is why I really wanted to show this. And then this one here is their Venetian Red. This color, when it's wet, it did have a color shift. It was redder, but when it dries, it becomes this nice red brick color, and it's perfect for fall. And then the Potter's Pink. It is a very strong pigment, and it granulates amazing. That texture is beautiful. This one is the Cypress Burnt Umber. And then the last one right here is the Aquarius Black. Now, when I first did the swatching, I thought it was going to, originally I thought it was going to be a really deep color, and then it ended up being a really light color here. But as you can see, you can make it a deep dark black. You just need to use less water, so have it more concentrated. But either way, you get this beautiful kind of texture when you use it. On its own, this kind of reminds me of a painting itself. You could do something like this and get so many different effects. I think it'd be amazing to add to a palette for anyone. Now, before I do sign off, I just want to show you 2 examples of these color palettes in use so you can see, because sometimes when you look at color palettes, you go, yeah, those are beautiful colors together, but I can't really see how they'd work together long term. So this one right here is a watercolor painting that I did on the Fabriano paper with the autumn color palette. And even the paper itself will give you a different texture. So on cold press, this is highly granulating, and here it's soft. Here it's soft. Same goes with, the quinacridone, the burnt sienna. As you can see, it's more of a smooth blend here, where on here it's got more of a granulation. So paper does matter when it comes to the watercolors you use. But as you can see, this is how it flows together, how this color palette really works together. And then this big piece right here is using the spring one. I did add some of my bright pink watercolor paint for the background and some splashing, but I'm gonna try to lay this down. Okay, but these colors work so well together. And I use this paintbrush exclusively for all of the flower bits. And then this one here to do the thin lines. So you can use exclusively 2 non-traditional shapes. Like most watercolor painters use round paintbrushes, but you can definitely mix it up, try something new, and still get great results. Speaking of watercolor brushes, this one right here, so all these leaves in this page were made using just this paintbrush, the Dagger. It is a stiffer one than I keep calling it a Winsor & Newton paintbrush, and that's not it. It's the Neptune from Princeton. But you can see you can get different size variations with it. Because it's stiffer, you have a little bit more control over it. And this color palette right here was, again, the spring color palette that I just used to do this one. Alrighty, so we have reached the end of the video, and I know this one was a wee bit of a longer one than our typical art haul / swatching, just because I really packed it in with everything, the unboxing, the swatching, and a jump forward in time to show you guys everything in action. If you found something in this video this week that you really found called to you, a color or a product that I'm using, I have links to them in the description section below. The links are affiliate links with Jackson's Art Supply. Well, I just want to let you guys know that what's great about Jackson's Art Supply and their affiliate program is that if you purchase something through one of my links, it's at no extra cost to you guys, and it really helps out this channel. So before we sign off, let's just take 2 seconds to do our breathing. So let's take a deep breath in and let that air out. Let's focus on positivity. And until next time, stay magical.